Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor back at you again with Pro Fan Sports Podcast with my dudes Vlad and Barry. What's good, fellas?
Not much, John. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How we doing? How's everybody?
We're doing good, man. You know, episode 13.
Yes. Let's get it.
You know, things are kind of changing around here. We're into phase 1 right now of the coronavirus, right, Vlad?
Phase 1 and phase 2 in Massachusetts.
Phase 1 and phase 2. How you guys holding up with that?
Doing good. Nothing has changed for me. I mean, I know restaurants have opened up. People are eating outside. And I see a lot of my friends eating outside. But I don't think I'm ready quite yet for that. I'm not too trusting of everybody keeping themselves clean. And so I'm gonna wait for a little bit before I go out there.
Okay. Barry, I know you went out camping, right? You went out camping the other day?
Yes, I did go camping this weekend, and went to Plymouth, Massachusetts. A friend of mine has a camper over there, so I went to go, visit him and his girlfriend, and went there with a couple of my other friends as well. So it was a really good time and really fun. It was nice to get away from everything that's, happening, particularly with the COVID-19 pandemic. There actually was interesting because that was the first time in a while where I didn't have to worry about wearing a mask, or didn't really see with anyone wearing a mask since it was in the woods on a campground. So it was nice to be able to not have to think about that and see, people covered up in mask and kind of just, get away from everything for a little bit.
No, that's good. Me, myself, I don't even know what's going on as far as the phases. I don't even pay attention to that stuff. So I've just been the regular stuff, man, bring your mask wherever. I did go to the beach the other day. I went to Castle Island. It's a lot of people wearing their masks still, which is good. I'm still staying away from people regardless. So that's...
Yeah, I think we're gonna be wearing masks for at least next year. So,
oh boy, wow, really that long?
For sure. So,
man,
at least March, April of next year
of 2021. Wow,
yeah.
Man, that's long time. That's crazy.
Unless by miracle they find like a vaccine over the next couple of months.
Man, fingers crossed. Hopefully they do. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. We'll see, man. It doesn't look like they're talking about it much. We don't even get like briefings anymore in the news or anything like that about like the numbers and stuff like that. So they don't even talk about it anymore. So
yeah, luckily
I think Black Lives Matter has gotten everybody's attention. Which is good, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. You guys focus on one thing a lot of the times and like blow it out of proportion a lot of the times, But at the same time, I know it's important and whatever's going on. But COVID-19 is still out there, and I barely see anything.
It is, but I don't know, guys, if you feel this way, but I'm at a point where I'm just over it, man. I'm ready to start living my life again and living the Be Money lifestyle and doing what I want to do. Because, like, at the end of the day, life's too short. I'm not going to go out, being miserable and, and boring myself to death. So, I'm starting to get back into doing things and being more active and doing what I want to do with my life is, and actually enjoying the summer and not, letting this, thing really get to me like that and, get me, depressed and all stressed out like it has most people. So, but I mean, I can understand, people who still want to take the proper precautions and being safe and healthy. I get that, but the end of the day, you only have one life to live, and you have to enjoy your life and do what makes you happy, because we don't know what tomorrow holds for us and what will transpire in the future. So we have to just do our best to survive and keep going, and to do what gives you that peace of mind at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't blame people that go out there and do what they got to do, but at the same time, it's like, me in the position, I can't just be out there doing whatever. So I still got the family and stuff to worry about. So I'm still gonna be as cautious as I can, for as long as I can, until we finally. I'm not out there, wearing a mask 24/7. I'm in the fresh air. I'm in the woods. I take hikes and stuff like that. But I'm definitely not, trying to be in a group of people all the time either.
Yeah, I think in what you were saying, Barry, we all have one life to live, and it could be cut short at any moment. And especially with the COVID-19, a lot of people's lives were cut short because of COVID-19. And I think if we don't take the necessary precautions to be careful, not only to ourselves, but to the people around us, this disease is going to spread. Yeah. And instead of enjoying our lives, we might be somewhere that we don't want to be. And I think part of enjoying our life is making sure that there's a tomorrow. And the way that we make sure that there's a tomorrow is by, I understand that the virus has been affecting everybody's lives, and we all have been in the house and stuff like that. And I'm not saying people should stay in the house. People should definitely go out, but wash your hand. We use hand sanitizer. Wear your mask. Don't go into crowds. Don't eat outside like the state is proposing. I definitely believe in taking all the precautions necessary, so that we not only don't spread the disease a lot more, because the disease doesn't care about the summer. It's still here, you know what I mean? And I think that most likely there will be a second wave, and I think the only way that the second wave doesn't hit us as bad as the first wave hit us is by being as careful as possible. Even just being here is me taking a risk, because I feel as though I want to deliver this podcast, but once I leave here, I go home, I put my mask on. When I'm outside, I put my mask on. When I'm at work, I put my mask on. And I think all those things are very important in order for me to see another day.
No, of course, don't get me wrong. I definitely hear what both you guys are saying, and it's not okay, I've stopped taking the precautions and stopped wearing masks and stopped using hand sanitizer and stopped social distancing, and I'm going everywhere and stuff. It's not to that point just yet. So just trying to get back into the routine, and and going outside and being a little bit more active, but still at the same time making sure that I'm safe, as well as the ones around me that I go out with, and also the ones that I live with too. So I'm not just going out freely yet without doing what I need to do in order to keep myself healthy and and as safe as possible. So
yeah, because if I get sick because of Barry, it's gonna be a
yeah, but believe me, if anything was to happen, I definitely wouldn't be here doing this podcast with y'all every Sunday if anything does happen.
The thing is, sometimes you get sick and you don't even know.
Oh no, for sure.
And some asymptomatic people, they don't feel anything, but they're sick. You know what I mean? So I feel as though, as much as we want to be outside, as much as I want to be outside, I limit the amount of people that I am exposed to, so that I don't get it from somebody that's not being as careful as I am. And I don't want to be around somebody that's not being as careful as I am, because then you can have it and transfer it to me, and I don't want that, and I don't want to transfer it to you guys or my family or anybody that I know for that matter.
Yeah,
for sure, that's
man.
understandable.
Yeah, regardless, that's just the reality of all of us that, you know, are living in this world right now. So we still got to be safe. We still got to think about each other, you know, because like Vlad says, asymptomatic people, you know, but I did hear that it's very rare for an asymptomatic person.
That's not true. So
is that not true?
No. So it's not that it's not true. That is that the science haven't proven that yet. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff people don't know about the virus yet.
No, because I saw a doctor say that. So
and you saw a doctor say that, and I also saw a doctor. So at work, we get an update on a weekly basis, and this week's update was a doctor that came and talked to us, and was that asymptomatic. It was said that asymptomatic people cannot pass it on.
Yeah,
but that's not true. It hasn't been proven yet.
Okay.
So we should definitely be careful.
So basically, they still don't know what the fuck is going on.
I think
that's what it seems like. You're right, John.
I think it's tough. We're dealing with an unknown, and I want to treat it as an unknown. You know what I mean? Because we don't know exactly what it is. We don't know exactly how to cure it or anything like that. So I don't want to take a risk and act like I know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, the amount of like conflicting reports that come out all the time. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So like, can we be outside? Can we be next to each other? Or can we not? Like,
we can be out.
Then, you know, they're telling you can't have a funeral. You can't go to your daughter's wedding. You can't do this. And then freaking, you know, rest in peace to him, George Floyd. You know, I'm glad that happened. But all those people are in there. You know, you know, government officials in there, no masks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, the other day I saw Mike Pence. He was like on a video, you know, for like a rally or whatever. They were meeting, and you know, nobody has masks. It's like, what? Like, you guys are telling the public something different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not adhering to the advice that you're giving. So it's kind of weird to me. And you know, whatever it is, man, like we all said, I'm still gonna stay being careful. You know, I got my mask, you know, washing my hands as much as possible. Just continue living how I've been living under the circumstances, just so I don't catch it and spread it to anybody. Doesn't matter.
And I also want to take precautions just so that if I do catch it, I know that I did everything that I could to not catch it. It's just unfortunate that I did. Yeah. But if I knew that I wasn't taking all the precautions and then I caught it, then I'm like, shit, who do I blame? Nothing but myself. You know what I'm trying to say? But as long as I know I'm taking all the precautions, if I get it, it'll be unfortunate, but I know that I tried everything in my power to not get it.
Hey, man. Listen,
no, absolutely.
Again, just keep being careful. But, you know I mentioned this on another show. You know, it's one thing, the coronavirus does bring a lot of people's business side. And, you know, just want to let the people know that this week's episode is actually a sponsored episode, and it's being sponsored by the Real Meal Deal Cuisine, which is an authentic Jamaican cuisine by Cheryl Blair. And, you know, right now they're serving the Boston, Roxbury, Cambridge, Mattapan, and Hyde Park areas, and they operate on Saturdays. So if you're into Jamaican cuisine, you can give them a call at 857-928-2797. And you can also follow them on Instagram at the Real Meal Deal Cuisine. So that's authentic Jamaican cuisine if you're into that. So, you know, shout outs to them. Shout outs for the sponsor. We appreciate it. The food is good. You know, as always, man, you know, just hit them up and make sure y'all supporting out there. You know, you can follow us on all the platforms. We're going to be shouting them out all week. And we also want you guys to know that we are doing an email section. So please send us your email at profansports1@gmail.com. And if you don't want to draft an email, if you don't got time for that, you can also hit us up on all our social media platforms. So on Instagram, it's profansports, profans_sports. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/profansports. On Twitter, it's profansports. And you can also catch our episodes every Wednesday on YouTube/profansports. All right, and our episodes go out every Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. Is that it?
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah.
So make sure you catch it every Tuesday at 8 a.m. on all the popular platforms: Spotify, Anchor, whatever you listen to.
Apple, Google,
you know, Stitcher, Breaker, whatever, man. We're on everything, so catch us on there. You know,
if it hosts podcasts, it has Profane Sports Podcast.
Facts, exactly.
Yeah, man. Other than the coronavirus that's going on right now, there's also another virus that we're all really familiar with as three black men. It's the racism, especially the racism in Boston. I don't think people, I think that's being spoken about, every now and then through the sports media and things like that. But I don't think we really hear the stories of like the actual people, their experiences and things like that. So. Right now there's a heavy protest, around the country, and it's still going on. It's the greatest protest we've ever seen. So how are you guys doing, with 3 weeks into the heavy protest right now, and the racial tension in this country? How you guys handling that?
It's been almost 4 weeks now, I think. And it started slowly for me, and then it moved into the heavy stuff where I was feeling it everywhere, catching it on all the social media, then went into doing my research on it, trying to donate, trying to sign petitions, trying to protest. And then now that I'm slowly getting back to work, now it's seeping into my work, So yeah. I'm having a lot of conversation with different people at work. Different people are coming up to me asking me my thoughts on things. So it's definitely been really heavy for me. The president of my company sent a letter that was pretty much bullshit. In the letter there was nothing said that to me that was encouraging, that was telling me that my company was gonna do something about this or was gonna engage in conversations about this. It was a very I'm not sure exactly what the word is, but the letter was simple. It was nothing that was impressive to me. So I'm having my company is a company about 100 people, and there's 4 black people that I know, 3 guys, 1 girl, and one of the guys and I have been having conversations about what we think we should do, how we've been feeling about the different conversations that we have. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to approach this, what's the best way to make changes. But there's a couple of white people at work that I've been talking to, people that have sent letters to the CEO that they're disappointed with the way they're addressing the issue, and I appreciate those people. I feel as though those people are allies. They understand what's going on. They're trying to help out. And like I said, me and the other black people at work, we're trying to figure out, what's the best way to, create some changes, like flip shit around.
Yeah. Now, Barry, how you feeling after 3 weeks of heavy protest?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. Starting to feel a little bit better about things, even though we're still a long ways away from, things actually changing around and, in terms of the social injustice that's going on in the country. Been still getting a lot of love from my white friends, and I definitely appreciate that. Been talking to, some of them, about it and getting their thoughts, on what they think about what's going on in terms of, the racism and social injustice. And they've been asking me as well. So we've been having good, conversations and good communication in terms of that. It's been going pretty well. It's still been active on social media, getting, my voice, out there and, posting frequently on what I, think about, the latest of the protest and and what is, what has transpired, recently in this, with the, injustice that we're still going through. So I definitely am still going to continue to do that moving forward. And, that still, not too, happy and still kind of, feel, frustrated and annoyed and aggravated and still have those feelings that I had 3 weeks ago when they first started, with the, George Floyd killing and when the initial process first started, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I'm not really feeling too good just yet, and still won't be feeling good for a while. So we'll see how things go. I'm glad that Medford's being active about it as well. They've been having some peaceful gatherings and peaceful protests the last couple weeks. I know they had one last week at the Hormel Stadium and their football stadium where the high school plays at. So I heard that one. Well, I wasn't able to attend that since I was at work, and they had another peaceful protest in the city as well at City Hall, Medford City Hall, this past Friday. So, I'm glad at least they're doing their best to be able to trying to get change started and, be, vocal about it and be active, in doing so. And since, Medford does have a big history of racism and has certainly had its fair share of hate crimes and racist crimes that have transpired in the past, unfortunately. So hopefully things this really starts to change the community and
for me, like Vlad, I actually got entered into like this diversity inclusion committee for my work. Just basically, my company is a lot of people and it's pretty diverse, and I feel good that they do allow us like a platform to come in and discuss a few things. We have like spoken word artists come in and talk to the people. We have like racial sensitivity stuff going on and things like that, just making the people aware. And some of the people at the top of the company are people of color. So I do feel like they have our back as far as like everything that's going on. For instance, we do have a meeting that was scheduled for the 19th, which is Juneteenth. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, it's basically the day the last slaves found out they were free out in Texas. And that just basically signifies the day that all slaves were free in America. And a lot of black people celebrate Juneteenth. And, it was pretty cool that an email came through. They're just saying, like, hey, we know Juneteenth is coming up and we have a meeting. If you don't want to attend it, don't attend it. If you're observing the holiday and things like that. And I think that kind of stuff is pretty cool. It's like the little things, just to make sure people know that, the company has their backs, and, a lot of the employees are people of color. So, I think that's a big thing. It's cool to see all the corporations come out, in support of Black Lives Matter. Kind of like NASCAR, Amazon, them putting out like emails from hateful people about, not being part of their business, and them just being like, we don't care. Like, everybody's going to move into a space where everybody can be equal and things like that. And I know there's a lot of backlash, a lot of people that are uncomfortable with it because, they're not enlightened, they're not educated enough to, see the situation at hand. But I'm glad to see some things are happening, and I just hope it continues because, I don't think the work it's not done yet. I think we've seen a lot of things happening where, cops are being fired right away. Laws are being changed right away. Case in point, the Breonna Taylor thing. But it's like, if you're gonna make a law in the name of somebody and the person is still able to get arrested, arrest that motherfucker. You feel me? Like, how are you gonna change a law and not arrest a person that like broke the law in the first place? Like, okay, so you recognize that's a bad thing, but you're gonna leave the guy that actually killed the person that the law's about. Which doesn't make sense to me. So I think there's still work to be done. Last night, Rashad that guy died in Atlanta.
Yep.
You know, when the cop shot him after he had struggle. And I know, you know, he resisted arrest and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, that doesn't equate into somebody dying. You know,
Exactly. I didn't even
you know,
hear
some of
about
these
that.
cops, man,
Wow.
y'all need to work on your fucking nutrition and run after people.
If somebody is not out trying to kill you, there's no reason why you should be killing that person.
That's it.
You know what I'm trying to
Exactly.
say? So,
Facts.
I just want to piggyback on what you were saying, John.
Yeah.
So I like the Juneteenth thing that you just shared.
Yep.
And I personally decided that I'm gonna take Juneteenth off.
I'm taking it off too.
Every year. So I put it in my calendar every year. The only time I work on Juneteenth is as long as I'm working for myself, but I'm not working for anybody else on Juneteenth. And also, I like the thing you shared about the diversity and inclusion committee that you have at your job.
Yep.
That's one of the things that me and one of the black guys at work talked about is maybe we should create a diversity or POC
Absolutely.
committee. And so I definitely want to chat with you about that and see what kind of things do you guys do? How do you guys operate, just to like get an idea, because I want to create that at my job. So
No, for sure. I think
definitely we should definitely chat about that after this.
no, facts. I think all jobs should actually have that, you know, because at the end of the day, we are only 13% of the population, so chances are there's going to be less of us in the workplace.
Yeah,
you know, and
exactly.
you need to strive to make your workplace a place that they feel
Welcome,
they're welcomed.
man.
You know,
Yeah.
that provides a lot of inclusion, that provides a lot of opportunity for people to flourish, and you can't flourish if you're not, you know, working your best, or if you're worried about what people are looking at you as.
I've been like pushing my job, trying to like get them to go into communities of color to find people to hire, because if you're not going to communities of color trying to find people to hire, you're always gonna get the same white people that you say are qualified for the job. But if you actually go into communities of color, you're gonna find black people that are more qualified for that same job that you give a white person. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why my job should have only four black people.
It's wild.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think that absolutely there's still a long way to go, but I'm encouraged by how quick some of these things are changing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm encouraged that some of these cases are opening up. You know, like Tamla Ford, I believe her name is, the woman that went into the party with like a bunch of Caucasian people and ended up dead, and they said she fell off the balcony.
Damn.
But
I
she
didn't
had
even hear about that.
cuts
Wow.
on her face. She had, you know, wounds that looked like she was trying to defend herself, you know, and apparently the people that were in the house, some of their relatives worked for the police department, and that case just like went under the water and nobody's really talking about it. So I'm glad that they're looking at it and trying to reopen that thing, and I hope that, you know, this situation opens up a lot of cases, because a lot of people need justice out there, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a lot of good things going on, and I think it needs to continue. You know, speaking of this, you know, we do live in an area, you know, that I feel like where I grew up at is pretty diverse. You know, I grew up in Cambridge. You know, there's a lot of people in Cambridge that are from other countries. You know, it's a sanctuary city, and, you know, there's a lot of Haitian people. I was able to grow up with a lot of Haitian people. But at the same time, I did, you know, go through a lot of racial tensions at times, you know, and I did have the questions like, do you guys have any personal history of Boston fans being racist towards you or towards somebody you know or in front of you?
Yeah, so I guess the way I want to take this is that we do live in Boston, and Boston, to me, I feel as though is well known as a racist town, city, a racist area. Massachusetts in general is seen as a racist place, and I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is mainly because, you know, there's a lot of athletes that has come out about how when they come to Boston, they don't get treated fairly, and they don't get treated nicely by the fans, and they get a lot of racial slurs being said to them when they come to Boston. And I'm sure that happens in other cities, but Boston, maybe it's because I live in Boston, but Boston is one of the cities that always comes up, especially when it comes to the Red Sox, and definitely the Patriots as well. One of my personal story, and I feel as though I have a couple, but the one I definitely remember was a couple years ago. I went to the Celtics game with my boy, and we're walking to the bathroom or something, and this white kid, like he's definitely a kid, maybe like he's 12, 13 or something. He just runs by me, hit me, and then called me a nigga. And keeps running.
What?
And keeps running.
No way.
And it took everything in me and my boy to not chase him and just beat his face up. Just because you get to that point. You get to that point of anger where you know your anger is justified.
Yeah.
And you know, like, no matter what I do to your face will be justified. Like, no matter what when they say, yo, you broke his nose, yeah, he called me a nigga. Like, you know what I mean? No matter what I do to his face, I know it will be justified. But you know, I mean, I'm 29 now, and I probably was 27, 26 back then. And
that's recent.
You know, not only that it's recent, but I'm saying I was grown enough to be like, nah, running after this kid and taking him once over, and also I'm at the Celtics game. It's not like it's an open space. There's like hundreds and thousands of people walking around. So for me to run after that kid, I have to like push people out to run after him. You know, unfortunately, it left unsolved. But I definitely wanted to share, like, have been called names by white people at sporting events, and I feel as though one of the things that made me really want to talk about this was what happened with the player that said that one of the things he had in his contract was a no trade clause to Boston. Torrey Hunter, because he didn't want to be traded to Boston. And the Red Sox came out and acknowledged his story, and the Boston Red Sox came out saying that even if you been to Red Sox game and you never heard somebody call somebody a nigga or call somebody a racial slur, it does happen. And just last year they got 7 complaints, and the Red Sox were saying that 7 complaints that they received, but there's multiple complaints that they never received. Right. And also that not only the opposing players get treated that way, but the black people that are working the Red Sox games get treated that way. And also people have come out saying that when the Patriots were protesting the flag, 4 or 5 years ago, toward the Kaepernick thing, not even 4 or 5 years ago, it was 2017 when Trump made this big thing calling people that are kneeling motherfuckers or son of bitches or whatever. People were saying that when people that went to that game, when the Patriots were protesting the flag, like there was a lot of racial slurs coming out that game. A lot of racial slurs toward the black players that was protesting the flag. The Patriots players didn't even kneel. All they did was hold arms, and then a couple of players put their fist up, and they were being called they were being called a lot of racial slurs. So I think there's a lot of racial tension definitely in Boston. It's definitely making me angry right now just talking about it, but I want to give you guys a chance to talk, and then I can share more.
No, I know, Barry, you go to a lot of sporting events, man. If you follow Barry on social media, man, you can see Barry at, Red Sox games, football games. This guy tailgates everywhere, so he's a big sports fan, and I'm actually interested. Have you actually seen something like that?
Surprisingly, I haven't, with considering how many live sports events that I've been to, since, I became a big fan of sports. I personally haven't experienced anything like that towards me, myself, or anyone that I was attending these games with, or actually witnessed, any of the fans acting that way towards any of the players on the field or on the court. I've obviously heard the stories about, what the fans have said to the players. I remember not only Torrey Hunter was speaking about it, but I don't know if you guys know who Adam Jones is. He used to play for the Orioles. I believe he plays for the Diamondbacks now. So he was, I think, a few years ago talking about how how there were fans at Fenway, but when the Orioles were playing the Red Sox, and he was in the outfield playing center field, there were fans that were shouting racial slurs towards him, and he felt really upset and uncomfortable and pretty pissed off about it, as he should. So, I really felt bad hearing about that, and and that there were fans that badly represent the Boston area that way, because I feel as if the Boston sports fan base is, for the most part, a good fan base. They're a passionate and loyal fan base that loves their sports. They eat, breathe, and sleep sports. But there are also a group of people who unfortunately continue to be disrespectful towards the players and and be racist and say things that they shouldn't be saying and that are extremely rude and unacceptable and uncalled for. So hopefully things do change and turn around. I'm glad that the Red Sox did acknowledge and back up Torrey Hunter's statement when he had said that had happened to him numerous amount of times when he was here playing at Fenway, and with also the their staff as well that are colored. So I hope that they now take that a lot more seriously, because I feel like there's the teams don't really take it as seriously as they should when they hear something like that. It's kind of like, okay, we know it was wrong and we know that shouldn't happen, but they're like, I'm sure that was just like maybe like one or two people, or they kind of just throw it under the breeze and don't really think it's a big deal. But and we know that it is a big deal and it is a big issue, and it has been happening for quite a long time in the Boston area. So I'm hoping that now we know this Black Matters, like Lives Matter, with these protests going on and everything that has gone on in the last few weeks of the country, that can really change some people's perspectives and the way they treat the players and the way they treat minorities and colored people, as far as just regular people like us or professional athletes that are performing on the field, on the court. So I'm hoping to see some big time changes in the near future coming up, and hopefully more teams are going to be addressing this and taking it a lot more seriously, like the Boston Red Sox have been doing and said they're going to do.
Yeah. I think it's huge that the Boston Celtics actually came out and did not, like, I second what you're saying. They didn't, try to make an excuse for it. They're like, the Red Sox, if you don't think it happened, it does, and it's like you're getting it right from the organization, just letting you know, like, we're not gonna try to sugarcoat this. We're not gonna try to apologize and none of that stuff, because it does happen, and you got to take responsibilities when it's due. And I think you guys actually have answered part of the, my next question, which was, what stories have you heard over the years, Boston sports fans being racist, and I think you guys have already mentioned a couple of things already. Torrey Hunter, Adam Jones, anybody else that you guys have heard that had a situation. Sissy Sabathia said, every time he goes, like, never fail, and I know there's other notable players that have come out and said that this is a situation that has come out. You guys know of any other stories?
No, I don't have any stories off my head. I just think the point of me bringing this up is for us to talk about it. Like, why is it that, I mean, I guess I don't know if it's why, but like, well, what about Boston fans makes them this racist? You know what I mean? This like what is it? Yeah, like why is that even happening? Like, it's really upsetting to even think that you live in this blue state that is supposed to be open, that is supposed to be liberal, inclusive. And then you have inclusive and all those words, and you have people that are like calling people those words. Like, I go to sports games and it's funny because I have one friend, whenever we go to sports game, he'll say the nastiest shit toward the other players, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But never racially. Like, he would say, I don't know, the funniest thing, but it was always like, I hope you don't make this basket, or I hope you drop a ball in the Super Bowl or something. You know what I mean?
Like your mom last night or something.
Yeah, nothing
like
that has to
your
do.
girl yesterday.
Yeah.
Something
Not even to all the way to that level, to be honest. Like, always something about the game, like about how you suck. That's why you broke your ACL, which is not nice, but that's fucked up. But that's like, but that's not.
At least has something to do with what's going on.
Yeah,
in the field.
It's nothing racially, nothing like trying to like get you angry or anything like that. So I think it's like pretty, I don't know. I just when I think about these stories, and when I think about the players that are coming here, like, I live in Boston, and I've been living in Boston for almost 15 years now, and I want to. When I tell people I'm from Boston, I want to be proud of saying that, and I want to. If I invite somebody to go watch a Boston Celtics game with me, or Red Sox game with me, or any of the other Boston sports, I want them to feel welcome. I don't want them to hear, excuse me, anybody calling somebody a nigga. And the worst part is, if I'm in the stand and somebody calls somebody a nigga, all I want to do is punch that person. And then both me and that person are going to get kicked out.
Look,
you know what I mean?
No,
I just think that there's a couple more questions as part of this, and I just think there needs to be something done about this.
No, speaking of the Celtics, actually, Barry and I were part of this group, Celtics Nation. And recently, since the protest piece, some of the fans have been posting things about, like, Jaylen Brown and how he stepped up, and has done, protests and leading this and leading that. And Jaylen, he's very active in the face of this situation.
Absolutely.
Very vocal. And people will post something about it, and under the pictures, you look at the comments, and there's like, a lot of people try to disguise their racism as like, yo, this is sports, and I don't want to talk politics. It's like, bro, like, you don't have to comment under this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're here for sports. Right. There's no way you need to go under a picture clearly of Jaylen Brown that provided a quote, and somebody posted it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to be on here. If that's not what you're here for, why are you under here commenting? You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to me because, like, a lot of these people call themselves Celtics fans, and it's like the team is predominantly black. So, like, what, you're going to cheer for them for 2.5 hours, 48 minutes, whatever? Right. And then call them a nigger after the game? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's like we're props for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot we need to touch on based on the NBA that's coming up on the show. But you know, how does Boston as a city address this issue though? Like, what responsibility does the team owners have in the issues that happen, you know, at the sports stadiums?
You know, I think that it is the responsibility of the team owners to address this issue in a way that makes people safe when they come to the stadium. And I think there needs to be a zero tolerance when it comes to racism, racial slurs, people treating the players like they're not supposed to be treated. And I think not only the players need to feel welcome, but the other spectators, the other fans need to feel welcome. And, you know, I don't know, for some reason when that thing happened to me at the Celtics game, it didn't affect me that much just because you come to expect that kind of thing from dumb people, and it shouldn't have been that way. I feel as though I should have felt even more outraged when that happened than I was. So I think that there needs to be ways for people to report those kind of things easily. So the teams need to be able to either set up a text line so I could either take a picture of that person and text it to the team, or there needs to be ways for people not only to report this but also to ban these fans. You know what I mean? Like I know I watch a lot of soccer, and I know that racism it happens a lot in England.
Oh, it's rampant.
Yeah, absolutely.
It happens a lot in England and all the other countries, in Italy, and I think
everywhere.
A lot of those teams
throwing banana peels on the fucking it's like what the fuck is that all about?
Right. And so but real quick, I was reading something this week, and it was actually saying that even though soccer is like the most popular sport globally, it's also the most racist sport.
No, absolutely, I believe that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things that the teams try to do is to ban people for life when they do that. If you're caught,
there have been teams that have been doing that. Wow.
If you're caught saying a racial slur at the stadium, you get banned, and
just I think like that. Wow.
Yeah, you get banned for life. And I think that's one way to do it. I'm not sure if that's the most effective way, because you ban somebody for life, it doesn't mean that it changes what they've done. You know what I mean?
Right, it doesn't mean other people.
It doesn't mean that they've changed themselves. It doesn't mean that they learned that racism is bad or anything like that. So I think there needs to be ways to prosecute these people, you know what I mean, so that they can learn. Because even if I've been John from somewhere, he's gonna go out and still be a racist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his friends that is a fan that's still allowed in the stadium is still gonna be a racist person, you know what I mean? So I think there needs to be a way for us to teach these people not to be racist, to punish these people. I mean, like I said, I'm not a social justice expert or anything like that. I mean, these are just my opinion, and it's nothing that I sat down and put down pen to paper and try and find out the best way to figure this out. I just think that the team owners are the ones responsible, and I think the city that those teams are in should back up those people to either prosecute those people or punish them as necessary.
No, I think what you just said was, I like that idea, you know, with like maybe like a hotline, something you could text. You know, I don't know if we want people taking pictures or videos of people in the stands, because that could start, you know, a situation that, you know, you don't want to happen at the games, you know, as far as like people trying to retaliate, or, you know, as you can see online, there's a lot of angry racist people out there, man, and they're willing to do anything. They're willing to go to any depth to, you know, cause you harm or whatever. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that the owners definitely should take, you know, the measures that they do take, banning these people for life, or there needs to be a way where all the teams can communicate together And like, if this person's banned at this stadium, he cannot go to the Patriots games.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
make it, you know, so that we're gonna
That's a good
take
point.
all your sporting experience away from your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh, you want to be a racist at the Red Sox game? Boom, you can't go to Celtics no more. Boom.
You can't go to all
better
any
yet,
of
you
the-
can't go to
sports team.
you can't go see the Bruins. You know, we know how y'all love that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You can't go there no more.
Right,
Straight
right,
up.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, go to the sports games. You know, at the end of the day, these people that are playing, they're people. These people that are attending the games, they're hard working people that pay for their tickets just like you, and they don't need to go there to be uncomfortable because, you know, you have some kind of disease. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that mindset is a disease, you know, and it's a fucking virus, and apparently it's really contagious in the United States, man. You know, I don't know if you wanted to add anything on that, Barry.
Oh, yeah, I'll add a little bit on it. You guys have definitely hit on some pretty good and valid points. I certainly think that, you know, these teams should start, you know, applying those things that you guys should, that you just previously stated. You know, I also think that, you know, the reason as far as why this is happening is because you got to look at it from a standpoint that Boston is pretty much like it's in like Irish-based town. I feel like there's a lot of, you know, it's more so, even though it's kind of diverse, it's been getting diverse more in more recent years as of late. I still feel like there's a big part of the Boston community is particularly, you know, white, you know, Irish people who are, you know, who a good amount of them are, you know, racist and have that racial, you know, tension with the other races, and I feel like it's those particular people that are the ones who, you know, for the most part are, you know, doing these things to, you know, these players of opposing teams. They even sometimes doing it, like you said, John, to players on the Boston teams that, you know, are of color or are a different race, which is definitely not right at all. So we definitely have to do a better job. Well, not we, the organizations have to do a better job of holding those people accountable, taking this issue a lot more seriously, because it has been an ongoing and reoccurring thing for for decades, for a very long time. It's been happening before our time. It's currently happening now. I'm sure it's gonna continue to happen once the sports come back and once the fans do come back, until these, you know, the teams start really putting their hammer down and laying the law and, you know, disciplining those people severely. And as far as, you know, banning them from games and just, you know, and not letting them be any part of the sporting experience in Boston. You're right, that's definitely what it's gonna have to take, because if they don't do that, then this is gonna get worse and it's gonna continue to happen, and these fans think, you know, we're gonna think that it's okay when it's clearly not. So I'm sure we have some pretty good owners here in Boston, pretty good, you know, front office people that are running the, you know, these teams here in the Boston area. So I have faith and trust them that they'll be able to do a good enough job and come up with some sort of system that in their stadiums and arenas that will be able to be applied for, you know, all fans who decide to, you know, be racist and mistreat any players or any other fans of of color or anybody who is in that stadium.
Yeah, just the racial stuff, man, it just affects everything. It affects our Boston sports for sure. And those have been stories that's been going on for a long time. And, one thing it definitely has affected is the NFL, and not only because of, the racial tension that is in the NFL, the way that the NFL is built, the way that, there's no real minority owners. I think there's maybe one minority owner in the NFL, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. And then I think
it's that Indian dude, right?
Yeah. Khan. He owns the Jaguars, and I think there's a couple women that own teams in the NFL, which would, I guess, count as I don't know, minority owners.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Serena Williams like a minority owner of the Dolphins or something like that?
I think she's a part owner, like a
Yeah, I think her and her sister, partial, they've invested for sure.
Right,
I know that for sure.
I remember hearing about that, but you're right. There's not too many minority owners. Yeah, that's true.
But the racial stuff's definitely been in the NFL, and I think a big part of it was sparked by Colin Kaepernick's protest, and lately, it seems like Colin Kaepernick has been getting vindicated a little bit with everything that's going on around the country, with the whole country witnessing the police brutality right on camera with the whole George Floyd murder that sparked the protest, right? And now Colin Kaepernick, a lot of reports are coming out that he has a lot of interest in the league. Some coaches have come out and actually addressed Colin Kaepernick instead of bypassing the questions like they used to do, addressing the fact that they want to kneel and stuff like that. And I wanted to ask you guys, will Kaepernick get another opportunity in the NFL? If he does, will he be a starter or a backup? And which teams do you guys think should sign him?
I don't know if he's gonna get an opportunity or not. I just think it's been so long, and I think that the NFL definitely blackballed him, but also I remember last year when he was doing the tryout videos.
Yeah, his workout
videos, and something went funky about that. So I don't know how ready that somebody that hasn't played in the NFL for 4 years or 5 years, whatever it has been, is. I know he's been working out, he's been throwing, but like we all know, there's nothing like a real game situation. Mm-hmm. When you're in a real game, you're running around, there's nothing like it. So I don't know how ready he's going to be. I think I would love to see him back in the NFL. I would love for him to get a shot. That's my hope. My hope is for him to sign with the team. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I just don't think he's played enough to be a starter. I don't think anybody, no matter how great you are, let's say, I don't know, let's pick the greatest quarterback ever. If the greatest quarterback ever took 4 years off, I don't think he would come back and start automatically, no matter who it is. I just think no matter what you do, you take that amount of years off that you. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect Colin Kaepernick. He didn't take 4 years.
Didn't want him back. Right.
He didn't take 4 years off. He got pushed away from the game for 4 or 5 years. So I think it's gonna take him a little bit of time to get used to the speed of the game, get used to everything else. So I think he should be signed by a team. My team, the team that I would like to get him signed by is Pittsburgh. I just love Mike Tomlin, and I think Mike Tomlin is a responsible guy, and I think Mike Tomlin can give him that support to get better behind Big Ben. And I feel as though, I know Pittsburgh doesn't run a running style offense, but I just feel as though Colin can have the support that he needs to be back in a situation that will support him. I don't think he will start immediately. Maybe after a year when he's been practicing with everybody, getting used to the speed of the game, maybe play play in the preseason, play a couple of fourth quarter non-meaningful minutes, then maybe he can see if he can start. But my team for him will be the Pittsburgh Steelers because mainly because of Mike Tomlin and the support Mike Tomlin can give him. I also like a team like the Baltimore Ravens because of the style of offense that they're running now, but
right.
I just like Mike Tomlin a lot better as the black guy that's supporting another black quarterback, and I just like that idea a lot. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other team that he could possibly go in, but at least for me, the best situation would be the Pittsburgh Steelers with an aging quarterback.
Yeah,
right.
That's just coming off an injury.
Exactly, with an aging quarterback coming from an injury. So having him back there, learning, being around Mike Tomlin, who I think does a great job managing players. I think
for sure.
Yeah, that would be my pick.
Yeah, Barry.
Yeah, I definitely think he should be back in the league without question. I think that he deserves another opportunity. We've all said, the NFL has done him dirty and screwed him and tried to, tarnish and pretty much ruin his career, and which they have over the last 4 years since he hasn't gotten any offers or any opportunities to sign with any teams, because none of these owners wanted to deal with Colin Kaepernick, and I'm sure probably the majority of the coaches out there didn't want him in their locker room and thought he would be too big of a distraction for the team that they couldn't handle. So I think that now with that, the league knows that Colin Kaepernick was right, and he did have a point in those peaceful protests he did 4 years ago, and they've, I think, forgiven him on that, and they've come out and said that they admitted that they were wrong on their end, even though they didn't really apologize to him specifically, but they generally said that he was right in the end. So he certainly should be back in the league. I'd probably say he should be back as a backup to start off, since it's been so long since he's last played. I think he's certainly gonna need some time to learn an offense, learn a playbook, kind of get his feet wet and shake off that rust, and get used to playing again, and and getting back into that routine. So as far as which teams have he should go with, I mean, I can see him going to the Steelers. I could also see him going to a team like maybe the Panthers, maybe Carolina, or the Redskins. I could see that. Could also maybe see if he wants to go for a year. The Seahawks, since I saw that Pete Carroll said that he regrets not signing Colin Kaepernick in 2017, since he did have a chance to sign him, and there were mutual interest between both sides, but
sign him now, then.
He decided not to, but I just want to say he
now.
could.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm saying if you're so regretful, sign him now. Yeah. He's still available.
No. He should. That's what I'm saying. That's
I get what you're saying. And I'm just like, Pete, you're full of shit. It's like now you want to save face. So I regret not signing him. He's still available. Sign.
Right, he's still a free agent. Right.
What the fuck you talking about? That doesn't make you a good guy. He's still not signed.
But Barry, what do you think is the best situation for him?
best situation for him, I mean, I'd probably have to go with you and say the Steelers. I think that probably would be, in terms of him, you know what I'm saying, better in his career and really getting back to the level he was playing at before. You know, he got out of the league. I think that probably would be the best case scenario and the best landing spot for him to go to if, you know, he wants to really like grow and play for a winning franchise and actually a coach that's gonna believe in him and get the most out of him and, you know, and put him in a position to be successful.
Got it.
So yeah. I'd probably say that would definitely work out best for him if he decided to, you know, sign with the Steelers.
Got it.
No, I agree with both of you guys that the Steelers would definitely be a good landing spot for him. But I kind of like disagree with the point that you made just because Mike Tomlin is a black coach, you know, giving a black quarterback a chance and stuff like that. And for me, it's like, I say no, because like, why does a black coach have to be the one that steps in to actually do this? You know what I'm saying? It's like there's already like limited black coaches in the league anyway, you know what I'm saying? So like, why is it our responsibility to pick up the slack that they, you know, to pick up the mess that they created? You know what I'm saying? Like the league created this shit, so why do black people have to, you know, come in and clean this shit up? You know what I'm saying? If anything, I think somebody that should do it is, you know, the Jaguars owner, because he is one of the only minority owners in the league. So it's like, at the end of the day, the owners have the final say, because we know Jerry Jones is not going to pick, you know, Colin Kaepernick to come in. Like, fuck that. He's definitely not going to go there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, as the only minority owner in this league, you should be the one to, like, step up and be like, hey, we're going to give Colin Kaepernick at least a tryout. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
As far as where he should land, I'd agree with you guys that he could do well in Pittsburgh. You know, I don't know about Todd Haley. I don't really like him because he does have bad relationships with quarterbacks and stuff like that, and he's still there. But he could do well there. Another place I could see him going is not an ideal place because it's in Florida, and I think that's the Tampa Bay Bucks. You know, because they don't really have a back. Who's their backup?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Blaine Gabbert or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Blaine fucking Gabbert.
Right, garbage.
Colin Kaepernick.
Isn't that good?
He's hot garbage.
In this league, you need like you know, at least a reliable backup. And I think you need somebody to back up old-ass Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? I love Tom, but he is old. You know what I'm saying?
God forbid if something happened to him. Right.
And then another place I would think would be like, you know, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? You guys got Trubisky and Nick Foles, both guys that are not starters in this league, and that's not gonna like sustain your team for any amount of time. So
you don't think Nick Foles can?
Hell no, man. Like he's made of glass, man. Like he's injured, you know, every other year. People forget,
when he's
like,
healthy, he can ball.
No, man. Nick Foles came in. Nick Foles came in for 6 games, bro. That's all Nick Foles has done.
Come on, put some respect on Nick Foles' name.
Everywhere he's gone, he's just returned to the backup. You know what I'm saying? So clearly he's not a starter. You know, he had a good 6 games for the Eagles and won the Super Bowl, and he did well. You know what I'm saying? Give him props.
Because they had a franchise quarterback that performed really well prior to being injured. They drafted him high. That was their guy.
He took over
before Nick Foles got there. Like
yes, they were 11-3, weren't they?
That was his team. Oh yeah, and he balled out that year.
Nick Foles came in for 6 games
before he got hurt
and balled out.
Exactly.
But before then, dude was doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Carson Wentz.
Let's not make this a Nick Foles conversation.
Right. What I'm saying is,
but Nick Foles is a full-time backup. Nick Foles is a backup, and he's a better Trent Dilfer. That's all he is. So, but let's focus on Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, no, I think those are the spots. Like I think he could go to the Steelers, for sure. I definitely like the Seattle Seahawks, and I definitely see Tampa Bay Bucks as somebody. And the other thing too with COVID-19, I feel like teams need more quarterback help than before, because like at any time these guys could get sick throughout the season. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so like I feel like you need that, that extra insurance.
Well, then that'd be a bigger problem. The whole team will be quarantined.
That is true, man. That is something they need to think about. But you know what?
I think they are. They definitely are.
You know what?
They're probably talking about it, the NFL, as we speak.
Yeah, it's a big money business. I know they're starting to be a little discreet about what they report as far as like who contracted coronavirus now, because at the end of the day, it's going to bring out panic if you do that. So, but I just to end the point, I think that there is definitely opportunity for Colin Kaepernick in this league, and I think they should just get it done, man. As quick as possible.
I think it'll be a victory. I think it'll bring joy to me and to a lot of people.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm done with the NFL." It's like, yo, there's more people in this world.
Be done.
Right.
They're like,
exactly.
oh wait,
good riddance.
Right.
We don't need you, man.
What you gonna watch? NASCAR just said they Black Lives Matter, so you can't even watch NASCAR either.
Yeah,
exactly. Gotten rid of the Confederate flag too, which I like. But exactly. Like fuck all those fans that say that they ain't shit anyways. Who the hell are they?
Right. Put that fucking Confederate flag under your pillow and sleep on it. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's so near and dear to you, that's what you should do with that shit. Speaking of the NFL, a lot of white players actually have came out in support of Black Lives Matter, talking about that, they are willing to take a kneel. Carson Wentz issued a statement, Aaron Rodgers made a statement, Zach Ertz made statements, J.J. Watt came at some dude the other day, you know what I'm saying, on
Twitter.
On Twitter, the guy was like, "Oh, I know JJ's not gonna kneel during the anthem." He's like, "Don't speak for me, one."
Yeah, exactly.
And if you think it's about the flag or the anthem, you haven't been listening. Which I thought was an appropriate, clap back for JJ Watt. Much respect to him. And then you got Baker Mayfield coming out saying, "Hey, I'm gonna kneel." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how many fans I lose. I'm going to speak my mind at all times. So I think it's pretty cool that white players are open, to speaking up and using their platform to support.
I'm just going to say it's a little too late, man. They should have been doing this shit years ago.
They should have.
They're doing it now.
Yeah, for
great. Great, but it's taking us to burn down the fucking country for everybody to do this. So they should have been doing it a long time ago. If they were doing it at the beginning, we wouldn't have been here right now.
And maybe Colin Kaepernick would still have a job and still be in the league. Right.
Yeah, man.
That's true. I mean, I'm glad they're doing it as well. Better late than never.
Yeah.
It's great that they certainly are willing to support the black community and what we've been going through. In the recent years, particularly this year. So I'm glad. I hope those players keep their word and actually stick to that and have that same energy when the season does start and when the games do start to be played in September. So hopefully that happens. And I want to give a shout out to Bill O'Brien for saying that he's also gonna kneel as well this season when the games do start. So we've been critical of him and still not a fan of his, but I definitely want to give him some respect and big ups for saying that.
Yeah, not only just Bill O'Brien, but like multiple coaches have come out in the NFL and spoken out around the racial tension. People like Bill Belichick had like a whole meeting about it, just open the floor up to the players and stuff like that. And people making statements left and right, man. And I was just wondering, like, should all NFL coaches have spoken out or spoken up about this? And what do you think about the coaches that have not said anything?
As much as I think the coaches need to come out and talk to their players, I think it's the owners that bear that responsibility to lead by example, lead from top down, because leadership starts from the top down. So I think coaches definitely have the responsibility to make the players feel comfortable. Belichick opening up the floor for his players is great. Bill O'Brien saying that was great. The the Redskins coach when Rivera came out and was very outspoken about it. All those things are great and I admire it. But I feel as though the owners need to be the ones to lead by example. Jerry Jones haven't said anything. Robert Kraft pledge, and that's great. But I feel as though the owners need to come out, say Black Lives Matter, like. In many sports around this,
can you imagine Jerry Jones, Black Lives Matter?
No, it's sad. You know, we're laughing and all, but it's sad the way that the NFL is not a league where the players have a lot of say, and I feel as though things are just starting to change. And slowly but surely, but I believe the owners have to be the ones to come out, support their players, speaking out, so that the team can feel free to speak out.
I think they're just scared, man, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? All these players come out and they put out a video on behalf of the league, and then, boom, Roger Goodell is posting his own video. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, these guys are bread and butter here. If we don't oblige to what the hell they want to do, we might not even have a fucking league. So they better start, shaping up, man.
You know, one of the things that the NFL, sorry, Barry, I'm going to let you go in a minute. One of the things that the NFL is dealing with right now is that their top player is black.
It's black. Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
I think you're gonna see how that's gonna change. That's gonna change a lot of shit. And it shouldn't have reached to that point for it to change, but unfortunately, that's where we are. Money speak and they move. So now that the best player is a black quarterback,
and the face of the league,
not only their best player. Their MVP is black.
Right.
Their defensive MVP is black.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, y'all better shape up quick.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to see how that's gonna affect the NFL. I want to see how things change, and hopefully for the better. And also will give me a more relaxed tone when I'm watching the NFL. Because sometimes I watch the NFL and I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't be watching this shit, but I still watch it. So I think that's gonna change a lot of things.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely. It's certainly going to change a lot of things, and I kind of was just thinking that. A reason why the NFL owners haven't really spoken up on it, because I still think that there's a good amount of them that, since they're like, white older guys, the majority of them, they kind of have that racist mentality. And
you mean they're racist?
I think some of them are.
Basically.
No,
no. I was just gonna say, I'll say some of them are, without question, and that's why they've been hesitant and reluctant to speak up and say anything about, the social injustice and the Black Lives Matter movement and protests that have gone on in the country for the last few weeks. I think they're trying their best to kind of just hide behind closed doors and and keep themselves out of the public eye, and and kind of just try to focus on football when there's stuff that's going on in the country that's clearly a lot bigger than the game of football. So I hope that this stuff that has been going on, particularly with the players putting out that video, and a lot of more players that are minority and that are black are starting to really be the face of the league and starting to speak up and get their voices out there. Hopefully that at some point in time that changes the owners' minds to, okay, now I think we should say something and put a statement out so that our fans and the people know that we actually do care about this stuff and acknowledge and are aware of the how serious and how severe this really is, and how important it is to our country, and particularly to the black community and the black players that play for me, and that put their blood, sweat, and tears on the field each and every Sunday to show them that that respect and and that appreciation and gratitude. So I hope they do come to terms and realize that sooner than later.
Yeah, man. I think I agree with what Vlad said. I don't think it's the coaches that need to come out, because at the end of the day, the coaches actually are with all the players all the time, right? So they're with the black players, they're with the white players. You know what I'm saying? So I think that conversation actually gets a chance to happen because they're in close proximity with each other. And I think them, holding meetings as far as like the racial stuff's going on is like a good thing. I'm thinking about, a team like the Saints that had to come in and do that meeting with Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that incident, all the teams understood, like, hey, anything you say that's really out of line with the narrative or the situation that's going on, you are going to receive backlash for it. And I think they're, scrambling to do the right things. And I do believe that it is the responsibility of the owners to come out and say something, because at the end of the day, that's their brand. So it's you guys make the brand. You guys are the owners of the brand. So if your commissioner is going to come out and say something, then everybody should come out and say something. You know what I'm saying? So at least tweet out that we agree with everything that the commissioner's saying. Or I second that. And somebody definitely needs to come out and say something about Colin Kaepernick, because we're not going to forget about it. Nobody's going to forget about it. Give him his opportunity to get back in the league and do what you got to do. So with the racial stuff going on also, there is a team that, their name is a big contradictory to what's actually going on. And I'm talking about the Washington Redskins. And throughout the years, there's been a lot of uproar about their actual name, because in some Native American communities, the name Redskins is actually a racial slur. You know what I'm saying? It's like calling a team the N-word to some of these tribes that are out there. And, and I've seen some tribes come out and say that, they're not really worried about that word. And some tribes come out and say, listen, this is not it, And I think majority of them say this is not it. So I think it's definitely something, to be thinking about. And talks about them changing their names has come out again since the Black Lives Matter situation has come up. Do you guys think it's time for, just a simple answer, yes or no? Do you guys think it's time for the Redskins to change their names?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Get it the fuck done. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
Simple.
people are not mascots, okay? Like, people, it just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? If you want an animal or something, you know what I'm saying? You guys need rebranding anyway, because your team sucks. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's take the opportunity to actually do something, bring some energy into your fan base, bring some energy into the area, and rename the team. It's not, I know it's going to cost some money as far as like merchandise and trademarks and things like that, but for the greater good, it's just time to do it, man.
Nothing they can afford.
You guys can definitely afford this. The league can afford it, and everything like that. So, I agree with both of you guys. It's time to change it. Continuing on with the NFL, Antonio Brown received he actually pled.
He pleaded
no contest in a battery case against the truck driver. All right, so he received a 2-year probation. He got a psychological evaluation. He has to do 13 weeks of anger management. All right. With that being said, does that put him on track to be back in the NFL, in your opinion?
I think we've talked about this a couple episodes ago, and I think that he will be back in the NFL for sure. I think the NFL won't let him back without suspending him. And now that this case came out that he got 2-year probation and that he is serving no time, maybe the suspension will be, instead of 6 games, as I previously mentioned in previous episode, maybe he'll go back to 4 games, and he might, he might try to talk to the commissioner and they might bring it down to 2 games, but I think there'll be some suspensions for him to come back.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back in the league without question. This definitely helps his case. I feel like coming back into the NFL for this upcoming season. Think that there's certainly a good amount of teams that would still be interested in having him on the team and in his services, knowing what he brings to the table, especially from a talent standpoint. So I definitely think that it'll be a small suspension that will happen, and once he does get reinstated and get back into the league and has that meeting with Roger Goodell in the NFL, but he'll certainly be back very soon in the league. It remains to be seen which team he'll sign with, and which team would actually take a chance on him, but I'm pretty optimistic about his chances being back in the NFL very soon.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you guys. I think this definitely does put him on a good track to come back because, it's all about the things that you say. A lot of people do say that he should go to anger management classes and things like that, and I agree with that because he clearly needs something. He definitely needs a psychological evaluation because he does some really sporadic things. Some really weird things like back to back to back, and it's like, all right, man, you need to get evaluated or something like that. And
for sure.
I think he's just like still way too talented to keep out of the league. And if he's staying out of trouble, which we really haven't heard anything, why not have him back? And the fact that we haven't heard anything about the rape case or nothing like that for months and months is like, what was that real? Like, what was happening there? Is that still going on? Like, did this girl take some money and leave, or did she just like forget it? So I'm curious about things like that. But I want to actually switch on to the NBA, and there's a lot of things going on in the NBA right now. First of all, the proposal that it should be back on July 30th, they actually moved it a day ahead because they had it at July 31st. But reports have come out that multiple NBA players are not too thrilled to come back and play. People like Donovan Mitchell, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard were among those that actually spoke about possibly sitting out when the league restarts, right? And then on top of that, Kyrie Irving, who is actually the vice president of the Players Association, has come out and said that he does not think the NBA should come back amid the protests going on in the country. And to him, he doesn't support going back into Orlando. And his quote was, "I'm not with the systemic racism and the bullshit. Something smells a little fishy," right? How do you guys feel about these players? And their thoughts about not coming back, one, and then Kyrie thinking about, more in a broad view where he's thinking about the protest and things that are going on. To him, the protest is more important. What do you guys feel about the players not wanting to play, and then Kyrie's reasoning for not coming back?
I think that, so I'm going to start with Kyrie. And I think that the protest is obviously more important than anything. It's more important than any sport, any distraction, anything that we are watching on TV. The protest is about people's lives. It's about changing. It's about the future of my kids when I have them. It's about the future of your daughter, John. It's not about now. It's not about how we can watch some game on TV. So I definitely agree on that point for Kyrie. But I also think that the NBA coming back is not until July 31st.
Yeah, end of July is that.
And I'm not saying that the protest should end by July 31st. I think that there's protests. Whenever there's a movement, there's protests, and there's also the steps that we are taking to make change once the protests happen. The protest is good to bring awareness, to bring people together, to bring attention to certain cases. Then we move on to making all those changes that we have been protesting about. Let's sit down and make it happen, right? So I don't personally think that the NBA will necessarily take away from those things that are happening. I feel as though the NBA should come back. I want it to come back. I've had mixed feelings about Kyrie. I feel as though he's brought those stuff up before. And I just don't trust it. I just don't trust Kyrie's advocating really for that reason. Like, I feel as though if Kyrie had a chance of winning the actual NBA championship, I feel as though he's saying wouldn't be that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel as though he would be, no, I'm coming back. I have a chance to win another championship. And the fact that he knows his team is not good enough to win a championship, and that he didn't want to play this season anyways because Durant was not playing this season, and I feel as though that's why he's coming out and saying that. So I definitely don't fuck with Kyrie's sentiment about the NBA taking away from the protests and what's going on. I feel as though, like I said, when a movement is happening, part of it is protesting for sure. Then the next part is actually sitting down and trying to make actual change. And I feel as though maybe by that time that's where things will be. And I don't think the NBA didn't come out. It's not like the protests were happening and the NBA came out and said, no, let's come back. Let's change things. Let's come back. Yo, the pace the country is going into.
They need us right now.
Yeah, the country.
Right.
The country's in disarray, so we need to come back. That's not what the NBA did. The NBA is playing this for a month. They just set a date that has nothing to do with the protest. So I don't know where Kyrie's coming from. I know Dwight Howard posted something this morning. I don't know if one of you guys can pull it up. And I think he posted something about not coming back. Dwight, go sit the fuck down. If Kobe
he said, as much as he wants to come back and possibly win a championship, he wants his people to win a championship instead.
Dwight, tell me how you're gonna do that instead of playing basketball. That's what I want to know. I want to know how you're gonna make that happen and how you're gonna influence that if you're not playing basketball. If I see Dwight going out and making those conversations happen and making things happen instead of playing basketball, then you know what? I was wrong. I could be wrong. All those things I'm saying, I mean, I'm a person. I have my opinion. I can be wrong. But
so you're saying don't say that shit and sit your ass at home?
Yeah, like the fuck is Dwight talking about, bro? Like, yo, if Kobe was here, Kobe would slap Dwight. Yo, get back on the court. I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. I mean, I just don't see it, man. I don't know. I think the NBA coming back has nothing to do with that. And I know sometimes people use sports as a distraction toward what's happening, but I don't feel as though the NBA coming back will take away from what's happening. That's not how I feel about it. I'm surprised that Dwight, Donovan Mitchell, Carmelo Anthony, all those guys are talking about that. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. If I understand some players are scared to come back because of the coronavirus, and that's a fear I definitely understand. I understand also players want to give what's going on in the country the main priority. I definitely understand that as well, but I just feel as though both things can happen. I feel as though, and LeBron James came out and said both things can happen. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? LeBron James came out and said he has a platform and his platform is definitely supporting what's going on and that he wants to play and he wants to make change.
Yeah, I think,
so I don't understand why.
I heard that too.
I don't understand why both can be happening, and also Dwight has an opportunity to reach a championship, and he's saying that. So big up to Dwight for saying that. I just want him to back it up. I just want to see what he's doing.
Talk is cheap.
I agree.
That's right.
I agree with that, Barry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I definitely think that NBA should still come back and they should still have the season from a standpoint of the COVID-19, pandemic, and from the standpoint of the Rona pandemic and the safety and the health of not only the players but their families as well. I get that maybe they have some concerns and issues as far as whether they think that they're gonna be able to, maintain being healthy throughout the rest of the season. That happens when it does come back next month, but I still think it's the right thing to do for the NBA to come back, because like Vlad was saying, I think that the players can do both, as far as still play the games on the court and then also do what they need to do in terms of the social justice and the protests and supporting the movement and being vocal, because they're pretty much going to be one of the few leagues that are going to be going. Like, this is probably as big of a platform as they're ever going to be on. So since the season is going to be going and the games are going to be televised and everyone's going to be watching, since they were still going to be in quarantine and there's still not much to really do, that they can use that to their advantage and to their benefit, and make sure that during the games that they're getting their voices out there in the interviews that they do with the media and the press conferences. They can definitely make sure they address the issues that they need, feel like they need to address, and that's necessary to address to be able to, do what they need to do in terms of the Black Matters movement. So, and with the Kyrie thing, to me, Kyrie's full of shit, man. That statement that he put out, please, like, come on, bro. Like, get out of here with that. To me, Kyrie, especially here in Boston, the guy has no credibility. Like, this is the same guy that thinks the earth is flat. Like, come on. like, come on now. Like, this is a guy who, clearly who quit on his team and that didn't want to play, and that was already making plans to go somewhere else before the end of the season, and he didn't, want to be here. And whenever things don't go his way, he always seems to kind of try to find a way out of it. So, and he knows that he's not going to win a damn thing anyways this year, because not only is his boy KD not coming back till next year, but the team's not good enough as currently constructed, and he's also injured anyway. Like, he just had a shoulder injury just recently, so either way he wasn't gonna play the rest of the season anyway. So what the hell is he complaining about? Like, the rest of the season has nothing to do with him, whether he comes back. Like, who cares?
I think he's ready to come back or something.
Yeah, he's ready to come back and do what?
Injury.
And do what when he comes back?
Well, that's why he doesn't want to come back.
I think that's a valid question, Barry. They do what?
Exactly. Right. That's like the Brooklyn Nets are going anywhere. He's just tight that he ain't gonna get a trip. His team's not going anywhere this year. Like, he's not on a championship contending team as of right now. Not at least until next year when KD comes back. So he's just in his feelings about and he's just a whiny little bitch, man. He always whines and cries about everything. Like, that's why when
Kyrie.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, remember you texted that and I was laughing my ass off and dying, and I'm, as funny as that is, that's the perfect way to describe him, because this man always cries about every little thing. That he feels like it doesn't favor him, and and is not on his side. So the other guys that are opposed to it, I mean, it is what it is. I knew that, certain guys were gonna have mixed feelings about it and not really completely be all in terms of coming back and playing, but I feel like the majority of the league is the bigger superstars, and most of the bigger names are for coming back and still think that they can be able to play the games on the court and do what they need to do off the court, and and handle their business as they're supposed to. So I didn't really pay too much attention to what Kyrie was saying. I know a friend of mine had texted me saying, "Oh yeah, Kyrie wants to cancel." I'm like, who really cares? Who gives a fuck like what Kyrie thinks? Like, whatever, dude. Like, it didn't really mean much to me. So the guy can go screw himself, but I'm not gonna get too much into bashing him. I think I've already bashed him enough. So I'm looking forward to the season coming back, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys can be able to play the games on the court and get back to playing basketball and giving us the sports that we all need, and then also provoking change off the court as well. I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be able to do great things and continue to lead this movement and lead that change in the right way, and have things really can get the ball rolling, and in terms of the protest and the movement that are transpiring. So I think we'll see a lot of good things when the season does come back from from a lot of players.
Yeah, I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff. I think I agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying, but at the same time, I think I've had like other feelings as well, as far as like the protest that's going on. A lot of players have come out, and like Dwight Howard has come out, and then the Kyrie thing has come out, and then somebody that recently has like a big voice, Steven Jackson has actually came out and was basically like kind of praised Kyrie Irving for speaking up and calling on him several times to check on how good he's doing and things like that. And he said something like, the NBA is my family, but right now we have bigger things to do right now. So like, as a black man, I understand what they're saying. I get it. A lot of people use sports as like a distraction from like everyday life, and I think like, listen, you can't be distracted from what's actually really going on right now. There's social injustice going on. There's not, equality right now. And right now there's a lot of momentum. So in this standpoint, I can understand what they're saying. But at the same time, as you guys said, they can definitely use their platform to make a lot of those changes, right? When the NBA players have the bigger voices when they're actually playing, when they're actually in mid-season and they're getting interviewed after the game, they're making statements. I feel like their words carry a lot more weight than in the off season when they're not really seen anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like TMZ will take a couple pictures here and there, but for the most part they're not in our face like they are during the season or while they're playing. So
exactly.
Can you imagine if after like every game you know, there's a player talking about like social injustice, we want to continue, you know what I'm saying? Then that's like on ESPN, that's on Twitter, that's on Instagram, that's on everything.
Exactly.
So it's like, in that standpoint, they can definitely flood, you know, social media. They can flood the airwaves with exactly the message, you know, if from that standpoint. So I can see that, you know what I'm saying? And then the other thing is, if it came from any other player other than Kyrie, I think it would hold more weight. But since it was Kyrie, I think it, like, you know, takes away the credibility of what he's saying a little bit. Just because, like, bro, you cry a lot, man. Like, it's like you wasn't even playing this year, and for you to come out and even like make statements, like, why are you talking right now? Why is Kyrie talking? Why are people listening to Kyrie? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, Dave Chappelle was saying, like, why are people listening to Ja Rule? Why the fuck are people listening to Ja Rule? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why are we listening to Kyrie Irving? I get it. He's the, you know, vice president of the NBA Players Association. He's one of them. He's one of them. Apparently, they have multiple of them, and he's one of them. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
And,
I see.
You know, so now his word even carries more weight because he is with the association and things like that. So, like, he's going to actually be able to affect, you know, a lot of things, a lot of outcomes, a lot of change that might come for the players. So I think that's why, you know, he's gotten more attention. And another thing, too, there's other players in the NBA that want to come back that actually rely on the game checks, you know what I'm saying? So somebody like, I think Austin Rivers was saying, like, dude, there are guys that actually rely on actually getting those game checks that they do get. And with those game checks, they can actually, you know, get supplies for families. They can pay for stuff. They can, you know, organize certain things with the money that they do get. So I can understand that too. You know what I'm saying? As a sports fan, I just want to see sports, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, there would be nothing better than to watch the NBA right now. Watching the Celtics go at it with somebody right now, you know, there'd be nothing better. And I understand that, you know, there's issues at hand. And I think that, like you guys said, they can still be handled while the NBA is going, you know. They just can't, like, listen, when you guys start playing, you can't forget that there's issues going on. If you guys really want to use your platform, even when the games are playing, you're holding up your fist, you know, you're wearing the shirts, you're making the quotes, you're repeating, you know, the Black Lives Matter stuff and making sure that it's in people's faces, making sure that the conversation is not disappearing because people use your platform as a distraction from what the fuck is actually going on every day. You know what I'm saying? But that's my thought on it. You know, but with the playoffs coming and with the new format, which team do you actually think that affects more? And who is your pick to win it most likely? Like, who's your pick to win it most likely?
To most likely win the championship?
Yeah.
You're talking about the new
playoff format.
Yeah. Which team does the new format like favor more? And who was your pick to win it? You know,
to most likely win.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Lakers were on top. The Lakers were playing really well, and I think that especially LeBron James had an opportunity to win a championship with the third team, and I feel as though he's gonna benefit a lot more from coming back, and I feel as though his team in the position that they were at, if the season had been canceled, he would have been really upset about that. He had such a good opportunity to make history and that he didn't get to make history. So I feel as though his team is in a prime position to do that. So I feel as though the season will definitely benefit him the most. Which team do I think will be able to win it all? That's pretty hard to say, but I'm gonna, as of right now, I think the winner of the NBA Finals is gonna come out of the West, and it's either gonna be the Lakers or the Clippers.
Okay, Barry, what's your predictions there?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly gonna be a lot more interesting to see because I think it's going to be a lot more open for, you know, several teams to be able to have a chance to win, you know, a championship that maybe if the, you know, season went on is didn't really have as much of a chance. I certainly thinking that, certainly the Lakers are going to be there with LeBron and AD as long as they continue to play at a high level. Certainly think the Clippers will be there as well with their talent and their depth that they have, and them also being a veteran savvy and playoff battle tested team with a lot of those guys have quite a bit of playoff experience, and then I think you can't forget about teams like Houston, for example. I think they certainly have a shot and could benefit from this new format. I mean, they have two of the most dynamic scorers and playmakers in the league, in Harden and Westbrook, and those guys can take over as a series at any given time and at any given moment. And I think when you have two guys like that on your team, you certainly always have a shot to win and beat anybody. So certainly on the East, the Bucks will be right up there and will certainly, be the favorites to come out of the East. We certainly got the Celtics as well, too, so they'll be right up there with the Bucks.
But who do you think can win, though? You know what I mean?
Who do I think is actually going to win?
Yeah, like I know you want to go over the whole NBA, but since we don't have a lot of time, like pick one or two teams you think definitely might win, or
I think it'll either be, as far as who's gonna win, either the Lakers or the Rockets.
Okay.
I think one of those two.
Okay. Wait, is that even possible? Like, can the Lakers face like the Rockets?
No. That he's not saying those two will play in the playoff the finals. He's saying
just like
one of them will win the championship.
My mind was going crazy for a second. I'm like, is this college again? Yeah, but for me, I think that I think I said that in another show. I think that the format helps like the younger teams better, because there's a lot of games like cramped up, into the time that's coming. And I think that helps the younger teams better, even though, every team has been off for so long, but I think it helps the younger players because like they get into shape quicker. I don't know if that's like my mind saying that, or to me, like the older players, it's going to take them longer to actually get to like their top form than the younger guys are. Right? I don't know is that science correct?
I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but I mean, there's something to say with younger legs, younger muscles recover a lot quicker. So maybe there's something to it.
I don't know. That's my mindset anyway. So I think it's gonna help the younger teams with a lot of depth.
But there's experience.
There is experience.
Oh, for sure.
There is experience for sure. So I definitely think that the Lakers are gonna be up there. The Clippers are gonna be up there, and for the East, the Bucks are gonna be up there, and then the Celtics are gonna be up there. So for my winner, I think I'm just gonna go with the regular season winners, which is the Bucks.
Wow.
So,
really?
I think it's like that year that the Greek freak is just like
he can do it by himself.
He can't do it by himself, but he hasn't been doing it by himself all year. Yeah. The team has the best record, and they've been like obliterating people all year. So
that's gonna carry on to the playoffs.
Last year, it took them 7 games to get kicked out. Of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? They lost in 6 games to Toronto.
So I don't know. I think they learned some stuff from last year, and I think that they're ready to like take it on to the next level. So
hopefully they did. We won't see that until playoff time comes. I hope that they learn from their mistakes and experiences that they had.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but that's just my pick, you know what I'm saying? I think anybody can win it. I even think the Celtics can be up there too, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I think they have as good of a chance as the 4 teams that I mentioned, but I'm just picking the Bucks to do it this year. But going still with the NBA, one player that used to be on the Celtics, retired NBA player, Brian Scalabrine, the white mamba they call him around here, right?
Yeah, that's
Simple
right.
yes or no questions. Like, he made a statement the other day, and I want to hear what you guys think, like with just a yes or no, just like we did in the other question. He said that Jason Tatum is a top 10 player in the NBA right now. Do you agree or disagree? Yes or no?
Disagree.
Disagree.
Disagree as well. Because, there's a lot of players in this league, and I don't think Jason Tatum has, like, surpassed, like, a Jimmy Butler yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and he's not a top 10 player. So, like, I just don't agree with that yet. I think eventually he'll get there, but right now I don't think so. But I want to move on to some other things that are happening. Vlad, what's happening with the NHL?
So NHL, there's not a lot of updates, but we all know the NHL is coming back. The training,
which is great.
Yeah. I mean, sports,
for sure. Absolutely.
Sports coming back period is great. The NHL camps are opening July 10th. They will announce the hub cities. There'll be 2 hub cities, one to hold the East, one to hold the Western Conference, and that they're gonna announce June 22nd, which is in a week about, right? Mm-hmm. A week from, basically in a week. Next Monday, not this Monday coming up, but next Monday
after next.
Yeah,
right. That's when their training camp starts. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the qualifying rounds. Oh no. That's when they're gonna announce the host cities, the cities that are gonna be hosting.
I gotcha.
And things that we sort of knew, qualifying rounds are going to be best out of 5, and the remaining rounds, like first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, semifinals, finals, all those are going to be best out of 7. So we don't have a lot of updates, just because we're not crazy NHL fans, but I think we're all just excited for the possibility of sports coming back and sports being back.
For sure, and I'll even be watching the NHL games. I'm not
I'm gonna be
a big
watching
NHL guy, but I'll be tuning in for sure, no doubt.
So will I. So as that's as far as it goes for the NHL. For the MLB, it's still going on. The MLB and the MLBPA are still going at it. The MLBPA reject the offer, or the owners, the players don't plan on taking any cuts. So as far as the players goes, they're ready to play. They're ready to play with whatever the setup is. We just don't want to take a pay cut. We're only taking they said they're only taking a pay cut if the owners can show them their books and show them why they need to take a pay cut.
Baseball is done.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, it is. They're letting their egos
out. Every show we talk, we say baseball is done.
Right. No, I mean, it's getting closer and closer to that. No, they just prove it more and more that pretty much the sport is dead. The sport's finished. Like,
could you imagine a world without baseball?
I can't, but it's like, bro, like, who are they engaging? We talked about this in other shows, and it's like, bro, you're not engaging anybody, and now you have issues with actually starting when it's crucial to actually start up.
And not only that, they had a great opportunity, right, to have no other sports going on, which they do every year.
Absolutely.
But they had an opportunity to come back and be those sports that open the country back up.
Take all
all the exactly.
Like, everybody was gonna be, oh my God, the corona was happening, and then baseball came back, and it gave us, not that we forgot about everything, but it gave us a breather,
something.
Right, an escape, a distraction.
Like even me, right? I'm a big soccer fan, and usually in the summer I'm watching different soccer championships. But because there's nothing going on, I would have tuned into a couple of baseball games. Hey, I'm not doing anything. Let me tune into a couple of baseball games. They didn't even give me that opportunity. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right, exactly.
So one thing that people were saying is every day that goes by is a day that baseball is missing to play a couple of games.
Straight up.
Exactly. Facts.
So right now they're down to like 50 to 70 games they might play. So it's definitely going to be a shortened season if they do end up playing. But like we said, it's the players are not taking a pay cut. The owners just need to set up, 50 games, you get all your money and then let's get started because
get right into the playoffs.
You're missing the. I don't know if they're gonna get right into the playoff, but
after those 50 games or whatever games they decide on,
they're missing the opportunity, man. The opportunity to gain more fans, they're missing it right now.
Right, exactly. No one knows who they are, and they had a chance to really like get themselves out there and actually like, you know, take the game to the next level and actually, you know, be able to market themselves better. I know we've talked about this on other episodes that, you know, no one really knows who the majority of those guys really are. Like, if you're not a top, you know, superstar or you're one of the top players in the league, then, you know, most even fans that follow the league religiously probably have no idea who the hell you are. So I don't know who these players think they are that they can think they're gonna be able to get their full salaries and make their full contract and not have to take any pay cut. And it's just ridiculous and egregious, the fact that these guys are letting their, you know, egos get in the way, and all, you know, just because of money. They're being money hungry and greedy and only thinking about you know, their pockets and getting their contracts. So I mean, it's their loss. I mean, they have no one to blame but themselves if the season doesn't start. I know commissioner was saying that he guarantees that the season will, you know, will happen, but like you guys, I doubt that at this point it will even happen, because if it did, then it would have already happened.
Yep. All right, that's it for MLB. Next thing is soccer. So this week we had La Liga games, we had Serie A games, we had Bundesliga game. So those are three top league in the world that came back already. So a lot of soccer fans are really excited right now. This week we're gonna have a lot of games. Premier League will be back this week, so that this will be four top leagues that will be back. So I'm imagining soccer fans around the world are really excited. So am I. Over the weekend I watched Juventus played AC Milan and Inter Milan played Napoli in the semifinals of the Coppa Italia. Juventus won against AC Milan, and Napoli won versus Inter. So the finals for the Coppa Italia is going to be Juventus versus Napoli. I'm pretty sure Juventus is going to win that just because they have Ronaldo. Ronaldo did miss a penalty over the weekend. I'm a Ronaldo fan just because he's such a great soccer player, but Messi is the guy I'm a fan of. Messi is the guy I root for. So when Ronaldo misses a penalty, it definitely makes me smile a little bit.
Do you think he's the GOAT over Ronaldo, at least the better player of the two? Because I've heard that conversation among a lot of people. Who do they think's better, and then who's the GOAT of soccer?
Messi is king.
Facts. I agree with that.
And
simple as that, right?
We can have a different conversation about that at some point.
On a different episode, right.
I like Ronaldo. I like Ronaldo.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Wow, you're a Cristiano Ronaldo guy, huh?
I am a Ronaldo guy.
But
yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a different episode.
In Barcelona's first game, Barcelona played it in Mallorca. Messi scored a goal and he assisted 2 goals. So he had a great first game back after the quarantine. So anyways, we'll be paying attention to all those leagues, and I'll keep you guys updated on how those leagues are coming. One big thing people are looking forward to is the Liverpool championship. Watch, Liverpool will have the opportunity to win their first ever Premier League championship. Their fans have been hungry for that, and I think over the next couple of weeks, if not this week or the weeks coming, they're gonna solidify that. So that's something that we'll be looking forward to.
Nice.
Wow, good for them. That's what's up. Yeah.
I'll throw it back to you, John, for the question of the week.
Yeah. No, if you're like me, you don't know half the teams Vlad just talked about.
Yeah, I've heard of Liverpool before. Right.
I've heard of Liverpool and Juventus. You know what I'm saying?
Them too. Right.
If you're a soccer fan,
But if you are a soccer fan, you appreciated exactly what Vlad did for you right
one
there.
thing I want to mention, Mallorca, which is they're not a great team, but they're starting to come up. The Phoenix Suns is part owner of that team.
Oh, that's
and,
Oh, really?
and
That's cool.
Steve Nash is also part owner of that team.
Yeah, and isn't he a big soccer
He's
guy?
a big
as
soccer
well?
guy, yeah.
Yeah, and
So they're investing on that team.
oh yeah, wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. And I heard something about the MLS this week that they came out with their new format as far as how they're gonna do the rest of the season when they came back. I feel like I think they're gonna do like a World Cup style format.
Yeah,
or
I
something
talked
like
about that in the last episode. They are gonna do a World Cup style format. I haven't gotten the details of that format yet, but I will bring that up to you guys next week, hopefully.
Yeah,
man,
for sure.
And, that brings us to the question of the week. And the question of the week came from our homie, Kevin Tame. Thanks for sending us a question. And if you want to send us a question yourself, you can always email us at profansports1@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on all our social media, man.
Yes.
Slide in the DMs.
It goes down in the DM.
You know what I mean? It do go down. So, and Kevin wanted to know, his question was, come September, it looks like all 4 major sports leagues will be playing. Which league will draw the highest ratings? NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB regular season games, or NFL regular season games?
Bro, is that even a question? NFL rules, bro. NFL rules the world.
Okay.
No matter what you think is happening, I'm telling you. You think NBA playoffs is great? Listen, I love NBA playoffs. I watch every single game. Mm-hmm. But when the NFL comes on, people watch teams that they don't even root for.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
For
For
real.
NBA, not that you're not watching team you don't root for, but you're not watching the Kings. You're not watching the Sacramento Kings.
No, that's fact.
It's true.
You're watching Cleveland.
True. Right. Exactly.
Bro, people watch Cleveland, bro.
I'm not watching.
No, you're not watching Cleveland, but last year people watched Cleveland because Beckham Jr. was on the team.
You talking about football?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. You're not exactly.
You
You're
know
not
what I'm
watching. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like people will watch a bad team play football more than they would watch a bad team play
basketball.
That's
a
big facts. Big facts.
As much as I support the NFL more because as much as I like the NBA more because the NBA is a players run league. The players have a lot of power in that league, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
The NFL rules, man. The NFL made the most money, and I think they're always gonna have the most viewers.
Now, Barry, do you agree or disagree with what Vlad just said?
Agree.
Yeah, I agree too, because I think everything you just said there right there. I don't even think we need to all go and actually answer that question, because it's like, listen, the NFL is played like a couple days a week. That's one factor.
Yeah, like 3 days a week, Thursdays, Sunday, and Monday.
So that's gonna make them get more viewerships just because of that one. And then you got the whole shit with Colin Kaepernick with the kneeling stuff this year.
Right.
People are gonna tune in for that.
It's gonna be even crazier.
Right. People will even actually watch the national anthem because they want to see, okay, are these guys gonna stand or are they gonna be on one knee when the national anthem is playing? Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we all need to go and answer that question, because literally football is king, man. And with what's going on right now, you're definitely not gonna turn away from anything.
Just to give Kevin a little bit more, I think it's gonna go NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. No, I do.
I agree with that too. But regardless, with whatever you got, man, NFL is king, and it is for now, and doesn't look like it's gonna stop.
Right, it'll be like that for a while, man. But definitely big shout out to the homie Kevin Tame. That's my guy, KT, aka K Money. He calls himself K Money. So
Money and K Money.
Right.
Not just the money bag, the money team.
Yeah, you guess so. Facts. You already know.
Bags.
Yeah, he says he likes living the K Money lifestyle a lot. Like I like living the B Money lifestyle.
That's funny.
So yeah, that's my guy. That was the one I was at his campground this weekend. So
Nice.
Thanks for inviting me over. Appreciate the hospitality, and it was definitely a great and awesome weekend. So yeah, that's my man's right there. I just wanted to show him some love and give him a shout out on the show.
No, that's what's up, man. Kevin Tame, man, thank you so much for the question. And again, if you're out there and you want to send us a question, hit the social media.
Feel free. Don't be shy, guys.
All right, please don't be shy. And that brings us to the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, which is going to be our last segment. So, Barry, give it to us, man.
Yes, so the B Money Lifestyle of the Week this week goes to Michael Thomas,
Yep.
New Orleans Saints wide receiver.
He's been in the news a lot lately.
Yes, he has actually. I know he's came out last week and spoke up against Drew Brees' comments that he had made last week. So definitely shout out to him for that. But that's not the reason why he gets the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. The reason is that he partnered with RIP Medical Debt and made a donation that would wipe out $2.3 million worth of medical debt for economically challenged families in the greater New Orleans area.
That's what's up, man.
So that was definitely an awesome and great thing to do for him to give back to that New Orleans community and in that way, and to help out the people that are that really do need the help and that are less fortunate out there. So definitely big shout outs to Michael Thomas for that. And then an honorable mention for the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. An honorable mention would be Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. He had donated $4 million to build a multi-sports facility in Norman, Oklahoma, where he went to college. He went to college in Oklahoma University, so he had donated $4 million for them to build a new sports facility. I thought that was really cool, and that was awesome and generous for him to give back to his alma mater in that way, and and continue to support his school. So big shout out to Trae Young on giving that donation.
No, that's what's up, man. And with that, man, that's our show for the week. That's our podcast, Pro Fan Sports Podcast. If you're still listening, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Come back, share the podcast, throw it on your social media, wherever you can. We're going to be back next week with episode 14. And also shout outs to Cheryl Blair. She did sponsor our podcast this week, episode 13, and she's at the Real Meal Deal Cuisine, authentic Jamaican cuisine. So if you want to get something and you live in the Boston, Roxbury, Hyde Park, Cambridge, Mattapan area, you can call them at 857-928-2797. You can call them throughout the week, but they only deliver on Saturdays. So get your menu, and they're also on Instagram, Real Meal Deal Cuisine. And again, it's authentic Jamaican cuisine. And guys, that's our podcast for the week. It's a wrap, man. Have a good week, fellas.
Yeah, you too, guys. Have a good week. Yeah. Episode 13. That's all she wrote.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like Pro Fan Sports Podcast videos, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us out greatly.
New episode will be dropping every Wednesday morning. Clips will be dropping every Wednesday afternoon. Click on the bell button for notifications on all our new videos. Thank you.